Thank you. I do it myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm a nail tech.
Oh, that's so cool. Dude, I wish I could do that. Getting so expensive, like my nail
I don't
girl.
even charge a lot. I really don't.
Yeah?
Yeah, I charge at least up to $50.
Really?
Yeah, that's the highest I'd go.
I'm like, I'm taking a break because of Wisconsin.
And welcome to the school board meeting. Just a quick announcement before we get started. Ms. Diaz, would you make that announcement?
Yes, Mr. President. Solo queremos recordarle a la comunidad que si hay alguna persona que no entiende inglés, tenemos a Leonor allá en la esquina que puede proveer la traducción. Gracias.
Thank you very much. So the board has just returned from closed session and no action was taken. So we'll now call this meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. We'll go ahead and start out with a roll call first. So Board Member Carroll,
Here.
Board Member Diaz,
Here.
Board Member Finlay here, Board Member Olguin.
Here.
Board Member Howard.
Here.
And then our two student board members, Board Member Priscilla
Here.
and Board Member Honey.
Here.
Excellent, thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and get started then with a flag salute, and that will be done by Board Member Diaz.
Please put your hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and do our beliefs and our vision and our mission. So, we believe we are a community of learners. We believe that learning occurs in a culture of caring and respect. We believe all students are motivated to learn when they are engaged in meaningful work that connects to their lives. We believe expectations do influence performances and outcomes. We believe learning increases when there are high expectations for performance and conduct. We believe we have the responsibility to find solutions that enable all students to learn. Our vision is 21st century schools producing 21st century students, and our mission is to provide knowledge, the knowledge, skills, and inspiration for each student for success in college, career, and life. Board will now move on to the adoption of the agenda with an amendment to include item 9.2, which is a presentation on the findings from the Fiscal Health Risk Analysis Report prepared by FCMAT. So with that amendment included, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion to include the amendment added.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Board Member Carroll, a second by Board Member Diaz. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Dr. Hillman, would you like to go ahead and introduce our spotlight for the evening?
I'd love to. So good, this evening, I would like to, we would like to have the board and our community hear a bit about what's going on at MIT. Mr. Morris, the principal of MIT, will get us started to let us know what we want to spotlight this month. Are you ready, sir?
There we go, we're live. No, I'm not going to sing. I have to use this because, or else I'd be doing that. So, thank you, Board of Education. Welcome, community, parents, our families here from MIT. I just want to thank all you guys for coming. This evening, I want to share some information about our WASC and our continuous improvement plan as it lends itself to college and career readiness. Okay. Oh, somebody's moving it for me. This wouldn't be possible without the amazing folks that make MIT run. And at this time, I'd like for our staff, the staff members that are here, to please stand up and just be recognized. They do some amazing work with our students. They do some amazing work with our students and wouldn't be made possible without the hard work and dedication Also, this evening, some of our parents and students are here, and this is truly a family, and we truly work together through School Site Council and through Miss Anna, working with our community. So I'd like for our parents and students to please stand up that are here this evening. Next slide. Okay, so WASC for us is something that we look forward to. And WASC, we just received our WASC accreditation back in March of this past March 2024. This was our 4th consecutive 6-year WASC accreditation, which is incredible. Mr. Laniket and Mr. Clayton did an amazing job of being our WASC committee leads for the 2nd cycle that we had. And for those of you that aren't familiar with WASC, WASC is the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, and what they do is they accredit all the colleges and high schools through the state of California. So this is a pretty rigorous process that we have to go through. They look at findings, they look at all the programs and things that we do, and they determine whether you get your accreditation, it's 2, or it's a 3, or it's a 6 accreditation, and we've done that process several times so far. As a result of that accreditation, we were honored to be selected through the state of California to represent all the continuation and high schools across the state of California at the state conference this past October. And myself, Mr. Laniket, and Mr. Clayton were there. We did a presentation, and we also served on a panel, and we were able to share all the great things that we're doing with our school. And it was just such a great feeling to be there amongst the state and some of the representatives that were there from the state, from CDE and across California, to recognize the great work that we were doing. So one of the things I want to first talk about is something that we fight constantly. Alternative ed, myths, and stereotypes. These are a lot of the things that people think about the school as far as what it is. And the students know this. When I take them out we have PBIS and we have dinner or brunch that we call it, because lunch or breakfast. And one of the first things I asked the student was, what did you think when you first came? And they all go, oh, well, we thought that, it was a student with all troublemakers, with gangbangers, with an unsafe environment, unsafe school. But that is the furthest thing from the truth, the furthest thing from the truth. We have some amazing young people and amazing staff members that make it a safe environment and make it a fun place to attend school and where students can learn. And next slide. And this is what we really are in reality. We are an alternative high school of choice, as the state of California defines it. We are also a cinematic arts-based school. We have a sports league, we have an esports league, we have a cosmetology program. We're connected with Simply Divine. We just got PBIS Gold with all the work that Ariana and Kimberly do. We have our Chill Thursdays. So I'm going to talk about a few of these programs. We also have a great adult ed program that a lot of our students can come back to and get their high school diploma. And we have a very strong school site council with a lot of parent participation. Next slide. So imagine if a school actually helps students identify their strengths by exploring their talents. And I'm not going to read the rest of it, but that's kind of what we do in a nutshell. We want to look at every possibility for all of our students. What are the things that you guys are interested in doing? Because I think that when you get to the heart of it and you do that for students, then the motivation, the intrinsic motivation kicks in, and all of a sudden now they're driving the car. Next slide. So one of the things we had to do was we had to change our image through rebranding. So we did that about 8 years ago. We went through changing the school from Mount Olive to Mount Olive Innovation Technology High School, because we do innovate and we use a lot of technology. We changed our logo from the bulldog to the tiger. We went through an art focus, Duarte, to an art focus. We implemented Creating Creators. We have an accelerated diploma program, and we also offer concurrent enrollment with Citrus College and Pasadena City College. And then one of the things we had to do also was find data that works for our school and our population. Every school's different. They don't operate the same. They don't have the same metrics. They don't have the same students. So our school is no different. So we had to look at, in addition to state scores, that's not the only way to indicate success, but student parent surveys, attendance, credits earned, graduation rates, PBIS success data, how those students do, concurrent enrollment numbers, how our numbers have increased over the years, number of students in each of our programs that we offer, and also early graduation. WASP goals, these kind of drive what we do over the next 6 years, and then we reassess those goals again. So goal 1 in a nutshell, fostering support and specialized programs to create opportunities to improve our graduation rates, also improve our college and career readiness and social emotional learning. That's something that's important. Goal number 2, we actually reassess and expand our programs. We look at what works and what doesn't work. If it doesn't work, we throw it out. If it works, we build on it and we keep going from there. And that's been a process we've done since I've become the principal there. Also, goal number 3, we look at our relevant and practical instruction through Accelis. We have a combination of direct instruction along with career readiness activities and hands-on activities for our students. That's important. And we get our kids prepared. And again, we continually assess and reassess what's working and what's not working. Next slide. One of our programs is our online program with Accelis. We've had Accelis for the last 8-9 years. This has been worked out perfect because it provides us all the flexibility we need so all of our students can work at a pace that they're comfortable at. If students can accelerate, we push them on. If they can't, we work with them to help them get the credits that they need. We also offer honors and AP classes. One of the great things about that is, say a student comes to us from Duarte High School, but they want to go back. Well, they can take these honors and AP courses and still be on track when they go back to the high school. So we kind of offer something for everybody. And our students that want to excel. We have students who will go through and finish, and then what they'll do is they'll end up taking, they want to take a HVAC class just for the heck of it. They want to see how they do. They want to take the medical terminology class because if they want to get into nursing, like Ozzy in the back. So all these things are possible because we provide all the different opportunities. And I'm going to go through these really quickly. Everybody knows about our Cinematic Arts Academy through Creating Creators. It provides our students with a lot of different opportunities in the real world, hands-on, work-based learning opportunities that we provide for our students. Next slide. Mr. Clayton does an amazing job. We have an animation program, 3D printing, robotics, and coding. That is the workshop, the playground where the students get a chance to go and they have a great time in that class. But that works along with our Cinematic Arts Academy because a lot of this folds into the film industry and a lot of work that people are doing. Next slide. Our music composition class that we have, that Mrs. Garcia is a trained musician. She's also a published, if that's what you call it, a published singer. She has stuff on Apple. She does concerts and all this stuff in gospel realm, but she does an amazing job teaching our students music, how to write music, how to read music, and how to play the keyboard, so it's amazing. Cosmetology and barbering with Simply Divine, we have that program, and we've had that for the last 3 years. The program has expanded, not just to Mount Olive, but Duarte High School. So I think we have a total of something like close to like 20, 25 students that are in that night program. And the nice part about it is with our film program, our kids get a chance to actually work in the industry in that particular field. So this summer we had some students work on a movie set doing hair and makeup on a professional set, which was amazing for them. Next slide. Our esports. Esports is more than just gaming. Everybody goes, oh, that's gaming. No, it's not just gaming. It's a $1 trillion industry that is part of the entertainment industry. You've got 6-figure jobs that students are learning because they have to learn the code. They have to learn to write code. They have to do all these different things to create these platforms so that, you know, all the different gaming companies can create this product for not just kids, but also for adults that do this for a living. So our first year in the program, we actually competed and we actually finished 3rd nationally. Little Mount Olive in Duarte finished 3rd place. We can't go through the whole story, but I thought we had 1st place. But anyway, but they did an amazing job. I was so proud of them because we were playing schools in Texas and Indiana and Arizona, all over the country. And out of 64 teams at the end of the year, we ended up 3rd out of all those teams. And we ended up with a record, I think, of like 15-2 for the whole season. So that was amazing. We got this banner up in one of our rooms right now. But again, that's esports. And then our other program, next slide, outdoor, Outward Bound Adventures. We've had that program since Mr. Clayton started for about 12 years. And the nice thing about that is we don't pay for it. It's all sponsored through the National Park Service and Outward Bound Adventures, OBA, and students can still explore careers in environmental sciences and also in wildland and forestry. So we have students participating in this program as well, which is amazing because it's all free. A few years ago, before the pandemic, all the work that Mr. Clayton did, he actually won an award. You can see the little picture there for all the community service that the students were doing in that particular, in the parks and with at the beaches and so forth with cleanup projects and was it reclamation projects and different things like that. So it's an amazing program as well. We have an outstanding sports program that Mount Olive started. Champ started a long time ago, I think in 2008, where we have now some 10 teams spanning from Pasadena all the way to Laverne, San Antonio High School. I think that's Laverne, San Antonio High School, that participate in this program. And just recently, CS Arts is a part of it now, and also, what is the school over about Mount Sac High School, which is part of the league now as well, too. So it's not just continuation schools, but other schools that have programs that want to get involved. PBIS, Kimberly and Ariana, they just took the winners yesterday to Disneyland, so that's one of the prizes that we do 3 times a year. We also raffle off TVs, and we raffle off gift cards, and we do headphones, and we do whatever we get donated, whatever we can have, we provide that for prizes for our students. And I think that probably the most popular one is, you know, lunch with the principal. So, but it's a good opportunity for me to take the students out and spend time and talk to them about their careers and what their aspirations are. Next. Our Chill Thursdays. We've had our every single Thursday, we have a guest speaker that talks to our students every single week. It's from City of Hope to Planned Parenthood to Citrus College to dozens and dozens and dozens of people that come in and talk to our students about their career aspirations. We have financial literacy. We also do as well. Next. And this is what I wanted to get to here. A result of all of that hard work and all those courses and implementation, it leads us to this right here. You can see the early numbers. As we get down, we have more and more students that are going into more career opportunities. And this isn't all of them, but I couldn't get everybody on the page. But these are now the things that our students are doing. So for example, Ozzy, will you please stand up? I have you on this list. So Ozzy Villa is our school president, but Ozzy is also enrolled into Citrus College. Ozzy's going to be a nurse. And Ozzy also has all of his financial aid, paperwork, done with, everything. He's set and ready to go. He'll be starting college second semester when we get back from our winter break. So that's what we're talking about. And this is not an unusual story now, but when one person does it, other students get inspired. Just a few years ago, Guadalupe Guzman, she sat right up there with those students. She is now a student at USC. She went to Citrus, she transferred, she went to USC, and now she's a student there. The film and all the programs just create a pathway so the students can get inspired to go forward. One of our other students, Arturo Landeros, interesting story, went to Citrus. He was in the film class. He went to UC Riverside. He got his degree in fine arts. Didn't want to go into the movie or film industry. Decided, you know what? I want to be a psychologist. I want to go. So now he's back in school, getting his degree in psychology and working on his master's. So it just provides a blueprint for the students to follow, basically. So with that said, what we do, we continue to look for new ways to collect data. We collect data annually to prepare for WASC, so not a situation where a lot of schools will say, oh, WASC is coming up. Okay, we got 2 years ago, let's start getting. No, we start collecting that data now. We start working on all that now to prepare for it. We continue to look for success of our programs and modify to meet our student needs, and we also find ways to incorporate outside partners to assist us with helping our students explore those college and career readiness. And our final slide. This is one of my favorite movies. Step Brothers. Yes, I like Step Brothers. Hey, the future is bright, so we have to wear shades. So that's us. Our students have confidence. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, board members, any questions or comments for Mr. Morris?
I'll mention something. You always bring excitement to your campus with all the cool stuff you do there. The giveaways, I'm going to say you bring the parents in and you have those parents, but there's a certain culture there where there are programs that, you're right, you've looked into what these kids really like. I mean, the esports, you know, my son loved that. He would wished he would have been over here. You got cosmetology, the creating creators. I mean, so you really are not, it's almost like you're getting these kids excited. Not so much where they don't want to come to school, but they want to come to school because there's so much going on in that campus. So it's so small, but there's so many, like even, I didn't realize the music either. Yes. There was some music, the keyboards. I'm totally impressed. So
one of your student board members is one of our singers.
Exactly. So, you know, like you said at the beginning, that you show the pictures of what people think alternative school or another type of school looks like, but it really isn't that way. And you brought a definitely. Actually, my son actually said, why did I go to MIT? He would say that because he really liked what you were doing there too. So, but just a small school has a lot of impact right there with your educators there and the students that love you. I can tell they love the teachers there. They love what's going on. It shows. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would just like to say how much I really do appreciate this presentation. And, you know, it's true, sometimes there's this sort of stigma that comes along with, you know, alternative schools. So we appreciate you really, really speaking to that. And what it really sounds to me like is that MIT really just tries to meet the student where they are. Yes. And I think that is so important. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Real quick, Mr. Morris, I had the opportunity to go on the field trip with you guys over to
That's right.
Citrus College. It was you, Araceli, and Mr. Prince. And it was impressive. I mean, there was like 700, 800 students. And there were also a couple schools that brought their 8th graders, but the programs that they have and how excited the kids were was just very impressive. And I mean, they were asking questions and, you know, it wasn't just they were out there, missing out on class, skipping class, but they were actually out there asking questions, and they're so motivated, and I was very impressed. Thank you for everything you do.
I have to brag a little bit because one of our former graduates is the Citrus trustee, Jonathan Johnson. So we got a little special treatment when we were there. We got breakfast. We took all of our students to a little private room, and they got a chance to talk with him, and he had to share his experience and how he works there on campus. And so it was nice to be treated to a personal tour. So they were like, "Where are you guys going?" "Oh, we're going to do something. See you later." So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin, thank you so much for this presentation. One thing that has always impressed me about your leadership and everybody, your whole team's leadership there is that, a common phrase that's sometimes heard at larger schools is that student slipped through the cracks. They got missed or something like that. And there is no crack anywhere in that school. I mean, all the students are accounted for. You know them like on a personal level. I mean, it's one thing to know a student's name, but you know their name, their family situation, everything. It just is so it's so encouraging to see that, and that's exactly the kind of support I wish every student could feel when they go to school. So thank you very much for sharing and for the great work that you and your team do.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Okay. Mr. Morris, first I will ask you to please introduce your wife as a former, she's also a former teacher of our school district.
She's
Right.
retired, too.
I know. But we
This is
would
my
like-
wife, Emily Morris. She's a former teacher, 35 years. She gets up and has coffee, and I'm getting ready for work.
Well, I will tell you that I have passion for MIT for many years. One of my grandkids graduated from MIT, my nephews, my nieces, and they are successful. And I know and I believe in MIT education. And I'm very proud that you take the kids to believe in themselves. And that's the main thing. Because if I go there and I don't have directions, I don't know, my parents are not educated, they don't know what I can do, and so they cannot help me to direct. It's terrible. And when they get there, they find the way, and that's the main thing. I'm very proud of all your staff, all your teachers. I see them every year, every activity, in every classrooms, they are there. During breaks, I see them talking to each other. The teachers are talking to each other and not isolate. The face that we see every time that we walk into MIT is Anna. And Anna even doesn't know the people,
Yay.
but she smiles.
Hey, Miss Anna.
And it's very important to show what kind of school, what kind of friendship is going on. And you show and you prove the education is amazing, because our kids have the opportunity now to go to college. And they don't need money. They don't have excuses to say, no, we don't have money to go to the next level. So I really appreciate all the work that has done and the lives that all of you have changed in our district. And like I say, MIT is a school of opportunities for students to success. And I really thank you to all the teachers and the parents and the people who participate in MIT students' education. Thank you for this presentation.
Thank you very much. And thank you, too.
Oh yeah, did the student board members, you guys have anything you wanted to say? We heard you were a singer, so
She's going to sing her, no, she's
her report, huh? Her student report.
One thing I could say about MIT is I wasn't really happy about going to the school at first, because I heard really bad things about it, about how bad people go there. And it just, when I walked in, Miss Anna was at her desk, and with a warm smile, a very welcoming one. And I started my first day, and Mr. Lanakit was my first teacher. All of the teachers there are very helpful. I'd have to say better than Duarte High in my opinion, because I started off at Duarte High and it was a very bad experience for me. And when I went to MIT, where I am right now I really like it there. So, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yes. Yes. All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Morris. I think we're going to go ahead and go down for a picture. Is that right? Okay. Well, let's head on down for a picture, and then are there? Yes, I see some orange cupcakes over there. Yeah, I was going to say those look like MIT colors to me. So yes, we'll go ahead and have a quick break then, and but we want to take a picture first. Then we'll get to the cupcakes. Get in the middle here. I know.
But wait, Anna and you two, okay. Switch you. Honey, we gotta get you in here. Are you all right?
All right, welcome back, everyone. I believe we've got the stream going now. Before we move on to our presentations, I do want to recognize former board member and soon-to-be newly elected board member, Mr. Tom Reyes. So our next item then is we're going to move on to our presentations. So Dr. Hillman, do you want to go ahead and introduce our guest?
I'd be happy to, and he's already there. I'd like to introduce Mr. Octavio Castello from the Director of Business Advisory Services from our Los Angeles County Office of Education to provide an update on our district's budget. Thank you for coming tonight, sir, and the floor is yours.
My pleasure. Like I mentioned to the board earlier, when we met under not the most best circumstances or the nicest circumstances, when we designated you lacking going concern, I also promised you that I would come over here and provide you an update if your budget situation were to get better. And so I kept my promise to Ms. Bell and the staff and also Dr. Hillman to come over here and provide you an update on your budget, which has stabilized. So I want to thank Dr. Hillman, members of the board, Tiffany for all their hard work. But I will warn you that this is a temporary fix. Things have to get serious. Part of our job at the Los Angeles County Office of Education is we review the fiscal solvency of every school district in the county. There's 79 school districts. There's also 10 what we call JPAs or ROP programs. Our job, my job specifically, that I'm charged with doing is reviewing the solvency of all your school districts, of all the school districts in the county. What we do when we review a district's budget is that we review your current year, your operational year, and then we look at 2 years out. So in this case, we look at your 24-25 fiscal year, we look at 25-26, and going into 26-27 to make sure that you have enough cash to operate, make sure your level of deficit spending is something that you can curtail and control. So this is what we do when we do your budget review. So we look at 24-25 in July, when you submit your budget to us, we look at your budget. But before that, and this is when it goes back to Duarte, there's reporting periods that come out throughout the year. There's what's called the first interim and the second interim reporting period. At second interim last year, your district filed qualified. So what does a qualified certification mean? That you may not meet your financial obligations in the out years. Not the current year, but the out years. When we ran your analysis, we noticed that you were using money that you technically didn't have to fill in your budget, to approximately $6 million in the 25-26. When I do the adjustments to your budget and I take out that money, because you don't have it, to me it shows that you were going to run negative cash. When you run negative cash, a corporation would be bankrupt. A school district cannot go bankrupt, but you will run fiscally insolvent and you are required to take out a state loan to help with the structural deficit, with your cash insolvency. Cash insolvency is one of the things that's the most critical. You have your budgets. Budgets are numbers on a piece of paper. The most important thing is your cash. And I monitor your cash daily. The county office daily gets cash reports to see where you are on your cash basis. That to us is paramount. You showed us in 25-26 you were going to be negative $6 million. So that to me triggers an alarm, because I get your qualified budget, your qualified second interim report. I then go in there and do my analysis to make sure what you're reporting is correct, and you certified a qualified standing. That to me is a warning light. Nothing is wrong with filing qualified. That tells us at the county office and across the state that something is happening at Duarte. You're not the only district that filed qualified. You're not the only district right now that's in a cash position or was in a cash position. That to me triggers an alarm and says, I need to do something to keep you from going out for a state loan, to keep you from being insolvent. And that's when we designated last April a lack of going concern in the district because of your negative cash position, potential negative cash position. I do want to commend Tiffany Bell and I do want to commend George in the business office and Scott. They rolled up their sleeves and they did a lot of hard work. having late phone calls with Tiffany and with George saying, how are we gonna resolve this? How are we gonna resolve this? You had an influx of all this ESSER money that came in, this one-time money. Part of the directive I gave Tiffany was go and look at your budget. Look at all these activities, all these things that you did out of your general fund, your base unrestricted fund, because that's what I'm looking at, your unrestricted fund. What kind of activities can you credit towards ESSER? They rolled up their sleeves and they found close to a tune of approximately $5 million to get you out of this hole by reclassifying expenditures. A marvelous feat, because to go in there and look at every single activity, every single staff member is arduous, but something that has to be done. And something I think it's a new operating principle here at the district is to expend your restricted funds before you spend your unrestricted dollars. Unrestricted dollars are gold. You can use that for just about whatever you want, except going out on a booze cruise. You can use it for basically whatever you want within reason. So Tiffany, I want to just commend you for your hard work. George and the staff, please send them my regards for this. At budget time, because you found this money, because you were able to reclassify all these expenditures and you came up with the $6 million, the county office approved your budget. My biggest concern was, do I approve your budget if you don't do this? God's hand in my mouth, you found the $6 million, I was able and happily approved your budget without any conditions because of this. But you may have an approved budget now. At first interim, where you're filing, you're gonna adopt it approximately next month, your first interim report. You're gonna tell me what the fiscal condition is of your school district. I'm once again gonna look at your assumptions and narratives. I'm gonna look at your enrollment. I'm gonna look at your average daily attendance. I'm gonna look at all your expenditures, staffing, contracts. I just look at lump sum. I don't look at specific staff. I don't look at specifics, what you're doing. I look at overall by object code. And I go in there and look at that to see whether or not you're gonna meet your financial obligations. I can tell you right now, and I think FICMAT's gonna follow me, how ironic that they were here. But your fund balance is depleting. I know there's been rumors that you have $29 million that are hidden somewhere. You do not have $29 million hidden anywhere, okay? Your unaudited actuals, and this is important for you to know. This is the official document. Your unrestricted balance is approximately $16 million right now at unaudited actuals. Can you guess what it's gonna be out in 3 years if you don't curtail your spending? Approximately 3.8 million. So you're depleting your fund balance. That tells me you have a structural deficit that needs to be addressed. The County Office of Education, we take it very serious. We're charged with one of these mandates and one of these responsibilities. Local control is prudent. The decisions you make as a board collectively are prudent. The fiduciary responsibility of the district falls on the Board of Education. Part of the county office's responsibility and role is to work directly with your chief financial officer, your superintendent and cabinet, provide them enough information with our narratives and our assumptions to reasonably assess your budget and reasonably assume what you're presenting at your interim filing period so that we were aware, so that way we don't impact the great services you're providing to your students and families here at Duarte. But I just wanted to first and foremost just commend Tiffany for her hard work, Dr. Hillman for her leadership. I know it was during a difficult transition of superintendents. You got Dr. Hillman, but leading the charge in the business office and as a district, I think she did a fantastic job, both combined, to get you out of this precarious position. Most districts would not be able to reclassify that much in expenditures. And just wanted to thank you for all your hard work. You're past that first hurdle. The county office is here to support you as you go through this endeavor, but the district must remain solvent. I do not want to intervene any more than we just did with the fiscal advisor. Our goal is not to. Our goal is for you to have local control. Our job is to provide you with enough information for you to develop your budgets based on the governor's budget, based on guidance provided by the county office. And ultimately, it's your decision as a board, and I just want to first also thank the board for just supporting Ms. Bell and Dr. Hillman for your hard work. Open to have any questions if you have any questions for me.
Board, any questions?
Would you please explain to us a little bit more about the when you mentioned that $16 million and then you will go down to $3 million? So can you tell me what's the difference?
Sure.
between those?
That's called a fund balance. Just think of it as a checking account.
Okay.
This is your personal checking account. So if you start your checking account right now with $1 million and you go down to, let's say, $3,000 within 3 years, you're spending a lot more than you're bringing in. Either you should maintain that checking account at the same rate or you should see an increase. This is exactly what the district's happening right now. You have $16 million beginning fund balance. That tells me at the beginning of the year, you have $16 million. By the time you close in 26, 27, you're down to 3. That means you're spending more than you're bringing in. That's exactly what that means. And eventually, it's going to run out. You can't continue this. It will run out.
Was the money that we received during the COVID affect all this that we are going through right now?
It would affect it if you had staff that are still, that you kept during the COVID times, or expenditures that you kept, or programs that you kept funded under the one-time restricted monies and didn't do the proper adjustments. Remember, that COVID money now is gone, so you can't sustain any staff from a funding stream that isn't there, so you move them to alternative funding streams, or you move them back into the general fund, which is an alternative funding stream. But that impacts your unrestricted general fund balance, because now you have an associated expenditure. Same thing if you're, any programs that you kept that may not be funded off of the one-time restricted money, if you start crediting that towards your unrestricted general fund, it also impacts that.
Thank you.
I was going to ask, does this more affect the time during, you're saying this is happening a lot in other districts?
Yes, ma'am.
You think that a lot of it had to do also with the COVID issue too, or this is just common that happens usually?
You know, as much as we want to blame COVID, I think we have a responsibility to make necessary adjustments as we see the funding streams running out or depleting. I think it's a combination of things. Birth rates are down, declining enrollment is down, cost of living has gone up, the COLAs that they've been issuing across the state haven't been keeping pace with the expenses. One of the things I do talk to a lot of districts about is when they go out for bonds, when they went out years ago. And they're saying, well, why do we need more money? Why do we need more money? Have you gone to buy a 2x4 lately? They've gone up at least 100%. The cost of construction has gone up 100% almost. So all those increase in costs is like the perfect storm for what's occurring right now. So it's a combination of things.
And to the degree of, say, what we have to do, in a sense of how to keep from not being insolvent, say, what are the advice of what we will maybe have to do in the future? What kind of cuts are the biggest cuts?
It's at the discretion of the board,
Okay.
and it's also at the discretion of your chief financial officer, your superintendent. I don't sit in their positions. I don't know the day-to-day operations of the district. One of the things we did recommend to Ms. Bell, and one of the things that she's doing is she's doing a staffing study. I think that's really important to have a good grip on your staff. Also, we had her do a facilities master plan to look at your facilities, because maintaining facilities uses up a lot of your money. Whether or not you're allowed to use by bonds, you still have an obligation to maintain those, even though they're not funded by bonds, so which would come out of your general operational budget. There's a lot of things that are in there that ultimately somebody who has the day-to-day knowledge of the district would be in a better position than myself to respond to, ma'am. But I will encourage you, get as much information as you possibly can before you make any decisions.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board members?
No questions, but I just want to thank you again for coming out and presenting. And thank you for just the insight.
Sure.
Because I do as well want to say thank you to Ms. Bell and the superintendent for your leadership. In the little time that I've had the opportunity to really understand the budget, I realized just how difficult of a task it's been. So I do think that they've done a wonderful job.
Sure.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate the report, and as you mentioned, we have a tough road ahead with looking at the things that we can control and the things that we can't control, and we'll do our best to focus on those things that we do have control over. So,
Thank you, Dr. Finley.
thank
And
you very much.
It's not impossible. It's doable. It just takes a lot of courage and just a lot of information and data. Thank you very much, Dr. Finley.
Great, thank you.
Mr. President, may
Yes.
I ask him the last question?
Absolutely.
Can you tell us, like, have you seen many districts going to the same situation that we went to?
I would say yes, we have seen districts. The main thing with you was your cash. As soon as you run out of cash, that's the most scariest thing. That's the number one thing. You can delay payments to vendors, but you can't delay payments to your staff. And when you run out of cash, you do not pay staff. You go out for a state loan. If you follow Inglewood School District, they went cash insolvent 13 years ago. They're still recovering from their insolvency. They still have a county administrator. The board has no authority. The county administrator has full authority over the district. They still owe on their loan. They pay FICMAT approximately $300,000 a year to do an annual assessment, and the service on the loan is approximately $1.8 million annually on that loan. So that's $2.1 million immediately that they cannot afford to give staff raises. They can't invest back into the school programs because they're the obligation that they have.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I think we can move on to a related topic. Dr. Hillman.
Well, first of all, thank you, Octavia, for coming tonight and giving this extra set of eyes for us and giving your suggestions. And we'll continue to do the work as we've been discussing tonight. Thank you. So related to that topic is I'd like to ask our Mr. John Flew from FICMAT, a chief analyst, to come up and talk about the report that you have. It's on the agenda for the public to see. And it's also, there's a copy up here for us to be reviewing it. And Mr. Van Flew will kind of talk about what this report is all about and kind of give us some more insight as to how we can improve our situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Hillman. Good evening, Board of Trustees, administration, educators, and community. As Dr. Hillman said, I'm John Van Flew. I'm a chief analyst with FICMAT. For those of you who are not familiar with FICMAT, let me give you a little bit of background about FICMAT. We're an independent state agency that we work with AB 1200. It's Assembly Bill 1200, which is the fiscal oversight of school districts. Our work is, FICMAT is Fiscal Crisis Management Assistance Team, is what the acronym stands for. The majority of our work is for management assistance, where we go in and help districts in a specific issue, whether they need help developing their budget, whether maybe it's a maintenance or transportation issue, special ed issue, what have you. We will bring in experts to assist the districts with that. We also go in with fiscal crisis, as Mr. Costello was telling you about Inglewood, and I will say that price of lumber, and you said $300,000 from us, our bill is $400,000 for our annual oversight, and that's with our state subsidized discount because of the efforts that we have to go into to look at that fiscal crisis situation. Fraud, we go into districts with fraud. And then what we really like to do is professional development, where we go in and actually help and teach CBOs. We run a lot of CBO education programs and then ASB programs, et cetera. We feel that the best way to avoid fiscal instability is to educate staff. So that's what we try and focus A little bit of history about FCMAT. We date back to 1991 when Assembly Bill 1200 was passed. And it was about districts were now seeking loans, and they needed an oversight agency to come in and monitor how they were using those loans and then provide some additional support. When a district shows signs of fiscal instability, as Mr. Cassell was saying, there's county office oversight, and they start off with that oversight, and if it continues to unravel, eventually it leads to us engaging with the district. And we all try and avoid that as much as possible. So going to this fiscal health risk analysis, in 2018-19, in the Budget Act, the legislature, in their budget passing, they challenged us with additional efforts to be more proactive and also to ensure accountability of the county office oversight. So if Los Angeles County Office of Education doesn't provide oversight and Duarte were to, using as an example, were to need a loan, not only would we come in and evaluate Duarte, but we would come in and evaluate the oversight efforts of Los Angeles County Office of Ed. We all try and avoid all that. We have a great working relationship with LACO, as we do with the other 57 counties in the state, and we try and maintain that and prevent issues, get ahead of them. So with that, with the Budget Act, FCMAT was challenged to create a tool to do this assessment of fiscal health risk. What we did is we went into our experience from dating back to 91, and we looked at all the districts that we saw having fiscal stress and what types of fiscal stress that they have, what were the causes of those. We broke it down into 20 categories, and the fiscal health risk analysis tool was developed. So we go in and, under certain conditions, disapproved budget, multiple qualified certifications, as they were talking about in the interim reports, a negative certification. Negative is different from qualified, is if you may not make it after current year +2. A negative is you've identified that you will not make it after current +1. So that's a negative. We automatically engage on those. If the county office were to not agree with the district's certification and to downgrade a district, they'll never upgrade a district, but if they were to downgrade a district and say the district is living in an imaginary world and there should be different, then we would engage. And in the current situation with Duarte, where you were identified as a lack of going concern. Going concern is good. I didn't make the name, the tagline up, but lack of going concern is bad. So that's what we determined, and that's what got us triggered into Duarte. So Duarte was identified as a lack of going concern on April 25th of 2024. That triggered us to engage. The first call I make is to the county office and Octavio at that point to see what's the situation with Duarte. The second call I made was to the district to let them know we were coming in. And so we arranged that we would come in after in June, coordinating with the district. And our goal with the fiscal health risk analysis is, while the county office is looking at the overall financial picture, we're trying to identify what are the causes to that. So that's where we came in with the fiscal health risk analysis, and conducted interviews, met with board members, current board members at the time, met with administrative staff, and also site staff. The analysis was to determine what the risk of fiscal instability was and what the areas of concern might be. Our goal is not to place blame or identify fault, but is intended to bring light the areas of concern and provide the district with some direction on how to correct its trajectory. The district's fiscal concerns stem from a significant decline in enrollment experienced over several years, and a lack of sufficient and timely adjustment in staffing and other expenses to offset the funding losses from that lack of enrollment. FICMT felt that there was a better, the district could do a better job of monitoring and analyzing its enrollment that contributed to the lack of response to the declining enrollment. We talked about COVID funds. We think the COVID funds actually masked the problem. So the districts across the state were infused with COVID relief funds to make up for the learning loss that happened with kids not being in school, physically in school. And that degree of funds, we believe, kind of masked the problems and allowed you to delay addressing some of the problems that existed in the district. Budget monitoring and updating, we found some opportunities for improvement there. We found variances in both revenues and expenditure side from what was budgeted and to what was actually expended and received. Annual audits, we found that annual audits noted expenditures in excess of the approved budget as well. We found that some reporting lacked detail and clear assumptions, and the inaccurate information made it difficult to make good decisions going forward. It also challenged credibility. Being that employee costs are the majority of the district's budget, as typical in any district throughout the state, those need to be monitored very closely. There were lapses and opportunities for the district departments to communicate and manage deployment costs, including staffing ratios and compensation raises given to, I'll just say that, you know, the compensation was given was in an effort to recognize the efforts of the staff, and we appreciate and understand that. But bottom line, we're looking at the dollars. So it creates a significant challenge. In the second interim, the district identified $8 million in cost reductions that they needed to maintain fiscal solvency. However, the ways to make those cuts were vague and inactionable without concessions from the bargaining units. So really out of the control of the district. So what caused the deficit spending? Declining enrollment, rising costs of compensation, the discontinuation of one-time COVID funds or the spending out of those, insufficient staffing reduction in comparison to the declining enrollment. Improvement opportunities include clear and actionable plan to address the deficit, clear monitoring of enrollment trends, monitoring and accountability of approved budget, communication between departments and to district governance, we hope and believe that the district has experienced its low point with the second interim and the lack of going concern. And when we came in, we already saw the district making improvements. Tiffany and I spent time on the phone where she was, we're fixing that. I said, yeah, but at the time, at the low point, that's what we're identifying. And we saw fixes happening as we came in and continued to happen as we worked through the report. So we believe the district is aware and acknowledging these issues. We believe that administration is determined to improve the monitoring and reporting processes. Sat with 4 of the 5 board members. Mr. Howard wasn't on board at that time. And you all stated that you were active, engaged, and committed to solving the district's issues. The risk score on the fiscal health risk analysis was 28.8, but I don't want you to get into the details of that. But that identifies a moderate risk. However, the level, and as Mr. Costello said, the cash issue is so paramount that we've elevated you to a high risk. So we've identified you as a high risk because of that. the impact of that cash. So where do you go from here? As I stated, you were at the low point. We believe that this district is already in better shape with the county office approved the budget, which means that they have identified that you have opportunity to, still time and opportunity to correct, but you need to make these adjustments right away. If they are, the longer they're left and to linger, the more they compound and become bigger problems. It is crucial that leadership is committed to resolving the fiscal issues. It is crucial that you work together to implement cost-saving measures. You'll continue to have fiscal stress due to limited resources and increasing expenses. That's just the way education is throughout the state. You need to work together to increase efficiency and reduce costs. Work closely as staff and with your county office. While they provide oversight, they provide assistance as well. They are here to help you. They are your partners and more than just an oversight agency. They should be your thought partners, and so we want you to be transparent and cooperate with them. Take action. Time is of essence. Board, you are elected to govern the district. You must continue to act to maintain fiscal solvency. Otherwise, local control could be lost. Want to end on a positive note. We thank my team member is not here tonight, so on her behalf and mine, I want to thank the district for their efforts coming in, and us coming in, we added to the workload. We requested over 100 different documents. We requested time from all the staff, and while they were working to resolve their issues, they were working to accommodate us in our evaluation. They were all very cooperative, very responsive, and we know that they truly want to right the ship here, but it's not going to happen without effort. So anyway, so thank you very much for that opportunity to be here and to follow up with our report. Our report was provided to you electronically, and it is a public document that will be posted on our website so ficmed.org. If anybody would like to look at our report, it will be posted in the next few days. Questions?
All right, thank you very much. Board, any questions or comments for John?
Thank you for your report. It was not easy going with you and your partner to during that meeting that we had, but it was very, very instructive. I learned a lot more, and but I want to ask you, either for you and Octavio too, if you can tell us what can we do to resolve this issue besides knowing that we have less money in our cash, but what else can we do as to solve this issue?
Well, I will start off. I'm not going to get specific because like Mr. Costello said, we don't know your district details that well. My role was to identify processes and systems that we've seen in other districts that have had stress, and it kind of stopped there. We didn't get into the details of it. But in districts that we see across the state, it takes active management. And what I mean by that is you're constantly evaluating and improving and addressing the changes in your district, whether it be declining enrollment, whether it be increasing enrollment, whether it be facilities needs, whether it be staffing needs. It's constant, and there's always adjustments that need to be made. And if you think that, hey, we're all going to sit tight and everything's going to be good right now, you're fooling yourself, because there's really always something to be working on. When you see a decline in enrollment, responses to that need to be immediate, because if you let them continue, then you have to maybe if you address it at the beginning, maybe attrition would be enough to solve it, and not backfilling someone who retired. But if you let it continue, now you're talking layoffs, staffing reductions, those type of things. Facilities, maintenance is a whole lot cheaper than having to go and reconstruct. And so a lot of these little adjustments constantly are what we recommend. Sometimes things happen drastic and you got to take drastic measures. But we all like to talk about the success of education. We're all here and we like that, what we're doing for the kids and how we're educating. Unfortunately, there's a business aspect to it too. And we have to maintain that fiscal solvency component. Does that answer your question?
Yes, but sometimes we have the numbers and our reports and what the superintendent provide to us, and we know the numbers. But then we hear in the community that either people or neighbors or even teachers say, you do have money that you're hiding, and I know that you can help us. That makes me feel bad sometimes, because I think they know that we have money, but I have different information. And then that put me in a really hot spot to be.
Well, I think in that it's a very difficult situation. I completely understand that. You have to have trust in the people that the superintendent and the people the superintendent puts that provide you with the information. If you don't, you've got a wholly different problem. I don't see any reason why you shouldn't have confidence in the staff at Duarte. Okay? If you don't trust a number, if they're challenging a number, have an avenue to educate them or educate yourself. As a, why am I hearing this and seeing that, am I hearing it wrong? To find out what that is. And at the end of the day, if you don't trust the information you're getting, that's a different problem than trusting the information and acting on that. So that's what I would say, is put people around that superintendent you trust, staffing you trust, and believe their numbers. At the same time, you have, it's a pot of money that you have to put in. There's lots of things that you can do with it, right? And make sure that your priorities are your priorities. And if it's, if it's one thing, put the money that way. Your budget should reflect your priorities, and just make sure that that happens.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Do you have something you want to say, Eddie?
No,
Okay.
Again, I just want to echo what I said the last time. Thank you for the tough love, right? Because that's
what it is.
exactly what it is. But I do have the utmost confidence in this board that I've served with now for the last, I want to say, 6 months. But I do have confidence that they will be able to see this through. So, thank you.
I was going to ask, when you have this report and you have the line items, I'm just going to give one example. The board members every 2 years should get some budget training. Is that what most districts do, or is it something suggested? It's something that it does help.
Right.
But so any of these line items that have said no on them, was it more for what other districts are doing, or suggestions, or are we should be doing it?
It's a standard that we see and we expect. Board members who don't understand how to read a budget, maybe enough happens every 2 years that some refreshing understanding of a budget, not just how to read it, but what the components of the budget are. COVID funds coming in, you've got different grants coming in, you've got different COLAs. If you don't keep up on how to understand it, maybe you're not able to ask the good questions. Okay, so we recommend every 2 years that captures those board members who maybe missed one time, and so they can get it on the second year. New board members coming in, what have you. So an educated board asks good questions and can make good decisions. And just like with everything else, if you're not educated, it makes it tough go.
And it goes with all the other line items that we see that.
Right, and
yeah,
we're
okay.
and just so we're very black and white on this. We're very objective on these questions, and they're intended to be that way. So if we saw one instance of non-compliance, we mark it. Okay, if it's not with fidelity, every time we're gonna ding you. And I know that's a hard grading component, but that's kind of really the only way we can be consistent throughout our process. We also offer the FHRA, the Fiscal Health Risk Analysis, on our website as a downloadable tool for self-assessment. But when we come in, it's either yes or no, no in between.
Okay. Well, I was going to also say thank you also for just being extremely honest with us and what we need to do or what we have to do to get this district where it's supposed to be. Thank you.
Mr. Von Flue, thank you very much for your comments and for addressing the board and everything that we have to do ahead of us. I think one of the things that really stuck out to me in your points was the importance of keeping local control. I think that is the desire of this board, of this district, and of this community. I mean, that's something that they expect of us, and so we're definitely very committed to making sure that we can maintain that local control, because as both you and Octavio pointed out, we know the district the best, and so therefore, you know, we should be the ones to be able to make the decisions that will have the best impact on the district. So thank you for as Mr. Howard pointed out, the tough love, and you know, I can say with that reservation that this board and the staff here are committed to making sure that we have that local control. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And then I think our third and final presentation for this evening, Dr. Hillman, would you like to introduce that?
Absolutely.
See, Dr. Lawson is
Dr.
already off the
Lawson,
bench.
she already knows. Thank you. Dr. Lawson is going to present tonight about the California alternate diploma, and she'll give us that information. I'll turn it over to Dr. Lawson without further ado, our Senior Director of Educational Services.
Thank you, Dr. Hillman. Good evening, everyone. I'm excited to present to you tonight some information about the California Alternative Diploma. One action item that you have tonight, Board, is Board Policy 6146. It's for the differentiated diploma, and it's an item that you'll be looking at and for adjustments to our board policy that reflect changes in the law to allow us to offer an alternative diploma. And so I'm going to share what that looks like for you tonight so you can have an understanding of those two components when you have to make your decision. So what is the California Alternative Diploma? It provides qualified students with significant cognitive disabilities the opportunity to earn a regular high school diploma and continue to receive special education programs and related services until they are 22 years of age. So how does a student qualify? There are basically two criteria for a student to qualify. The first one is the student has to be eligible to take the California Alternative Assessment. And in order for them to be able to do that, it's determined by the IEP, the Individualized Education Program. The IEP team is a part of that decision, and members on that team are the parent, administrators, support services, school psychologists, the student as well. And there's also a criterion that can be used, a tool that can be used to assess the student to determine if they qualify to take the California Alternative Assessment. That's the first criteria. The second one is that the student completes state standards aligned with coursework to meet the statewide requirement or coursework specified in the Ed Code 5122 5.3. So the student would receive some specially designed instruction where they would make adaptations to the content that's presented, the methodology that's presented, and the delivery instruction that's presented. This allows our students to be able to access the core curriculum, access the state standards with modifications and adjustments so that they're allowed, they comprehend the content that's being taught, but we're also allowing them to meet those state standards. and so that our students are not left behind, our students with disabilities, so they are receiving quality services. So those are the two criteria for a student that qualifies. So once a student qualifies for it, we want to present what the requirements should be for graduation. So currently, right now, in the Duarte Unified School District, for regular graduation, students have to attain 220 units to graduate. For the California Alternative Diploma, where the state minimum requirement is 130 units. So this allows students to have access to pretty much the core content, which is English, math, U.S. history, world history, science, PE, visual and performing arts, and pretty much waiving some of the electives. So that's what you see the difference between the side-by-side comparison of the Duarte, our minimum right now for our high school students versus our students that will take, that will be eligible for the alternative diploma requirement. So a couple of things just to note, that the intent of the alternative diploma pathway is to provide our students with significant cognitive disabilities the equal opportunity to be issued a high school diploma. And the IEP team, as I stated before, needs to decide what support and adaptations are necessary to make this happen. The second thing to note is that the high school diploma will look the same for students who graduated through the traditional program, through our traditional graduation requirements. Next, an individual with exceptional needs who entered 9th grade in 22-23 school year and beyond, they are eligible for this exemption. So it's not just everyone, but it started, this law went into effect for students that entered 9th grade in 22-23 school year. They qualify for the exemption. Students who are issued the high school diploma through the alternative pathway are entitled to special education services until they are the age of 22, so that they can participate in high school graduation, they can participate in all those other events, but they still can continue to receive those services that they need until the age of 22. Currently, we have our requirements for our high school graduation. We have what is called the Certificate of Completion, which is in place now, where students go through the program and they've completed the 4 years of high school, and it shows that they were in school, they attended courses, but they just get a certificate of completion. We don't know how long that's going to be around. In the future, it could become something that's obsolete, and so just keep that in mind. That is an option for right now. And then in terms of the student's transcript, it will not identify on their transcript that this is a student that has a disability due to FERPA laws. So, but it may show that the student participated in modified coursework. And then just to note when this went into effect, so effective June 30th, 2022, the law was implemented. It was also amended through the Senate Bill 114 on July 10th, 2023, and then it was amended again through the Senate Bill 141 on September 13, 23. So that's it with the alternative diploma. Any questions?
Ms. Holguin, looks like you have a question.
Yes, so you said this started in 2022?
22-23 school year, students that are in 9th grade at that point are eligible to participate.
Okay, so we haven't had any to this point with this diploma?
No.
So I guess the question that I have that's in my head is, okay, so a student, gets this alternative diploma. How does that impact the student, say, they want to move on to, let's say, like, a community college or where they, or a school where there may be course requirements, right? I don't know if this is making sense right now, but I'm just trying to understand, because there's going to be fewer.
Would you please speak to the microphone? Some
Oh, I'm
members,
sorry.
Community.
I'm sorry. Yes. So I'm trying to understand how this would impact the student. So they would have 130 units, and let's just say for whatever reason they, want to move on to a higher education.
So the 130 units is the state minimum requirement for graduation. So they will be getting a diploma meeting the state minimum requirements.
Okay. Okay.
So if a student wanted to advance to go into junior college, let's say, or a trade, and they required a diploma, I would need to look into that, get a little more information to make sure I would give the accurate information to answer that question.
So
But I know
that,
it
so
would
the
fulfill
one hundred and
minimum
thirty units
requirement.
would meet that minimum requirement?
It's the state minimum
Yeah.
requirement, yes.
Okay, got it.
And just to follow up on that question, so the 130 credits is the state minimum requirement for an alternative diploma or any high school diploma?
So this is the state minimum, state minimum requirement for diploma, for the alternative diploma. It's the state minimum requirement.
Okay.
I believe it's a state minimum requirement for a diploma, and then districts can add additional requirements, which is what you look in, when you see our requirements for Duarte High School, we've listed what our requirements are, and then you also see electives listed on there to get us to the 220. And at MIT, there's also, their requirements are 180, and so then the state minimum requirement for 130 would be for the alternative diploma.
Okay. All right, great, thank you. So, so just so I understand sort of logistically how this works, so would it be possible for a student that meets the criteria for getting the alternative diploma, could they then complete high school, the 130 credit requirement, walk at graduation, but then continue to receive services until age 22?
Absolutely.
I see. Okay, so they don't, I guess graduation isn't then at age 22 necessarily. It's just whenever they finish 130, and then they can continue to receive services until age 22.
Yes.
And these services are offered at Duarte High School when they get up to that age?
So when they get to the high school, there's a curriculum that will be implemented where they're looking at the coursework that's being developed for what our students will take, because they'll be making those modifications to the coursework and to the delivery of instruction to make sure students are able to access the information, have access to the California state standards, and be modified. So the special education director will be working with the teachers at the Duarte High School to look at that coursework so that we can make sure our students are meeting the statewide requirements in terms of the content that's being presented.
Okay, and the modification to the coursework is done within general ed classes, or it is a totally separate class?
No, it's in their special ed classes, because remember, this is for students that have significant cognitive delays and they need additional support so they can access that core curriculum.
Okay, great, thank you for that. Just seeing if I had any other, nope, I think that was all my questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I have a question for the kids that graduate after this. What does their future look like then, in a sense, different from the kids that get the 220? So what services are out there later for them? Do you know anything more about that, or where they end up going, or what they do, or are these, can they go to, if there's classes at, say a city college, are there classes for them there? How does that look usually?
I would have to look into that. I don't have
Okay.
an answer to that. But what I will say is that providing students with support so they can be successful in college, career, and life is our goal. And so in supporting our students here in high school who are going through the alternative diploma pathway, and then giving them services until the age of 22, and then the team kind of wrapping around these students and supporting them to determine what are the skills and tools that they have to be successful in life, to kind of give them some guidance. The counselors have a role in that. The special education teachers have a role in that. The IEP team is a part of that, and what can we project the next steps for the students. And so that's what I know that we will do. But in terms of what it looks like after they do what they actually do, I'm not really sure.
Okay, thank you.
If I may, just to add one thing, to add to that all students with IEPs in high school have a transition plan. So there is a transition plan as part of their IEP, and they kind of map out what they might be doing after high school. Some of the students may be eligible and may be wanting to go on to a community college, perhaps college, but also being ready for the workforce, right? And so those are important pieces to it, and having a high school diploma is key to get certain jobs, maybe joining the military. Other components is important for them to be able to take those next steps. Sorry to,
Yeah, no
I
problem.
had to put my ed services hat on for just a minute.
No problem.
I guess what I was trying to figure out is, we have the kids that graduate with the 220 credits, and then we have these kids, and, how they accept the kids that are only, the 130 credits. So how does that look usually how would that look in our society at this point?
So just remember, the diploma is not going to mark on there and say this kid only
Okay.
completed 130
Got it, okay.
credits. The diploma will look just like our regular high school diploma. So if they go and present it to a
Okay.
place, it will look the same.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, board?
I was looking at that, one of the important facts is that the transcript will not identify the student as a person with disability. However, it might identify the student participate in modified coursework. How did that go? Is that in a transcript? How did that go?
I'm not exactly sure what it will look like. I'd have to get more information on what it would actually look like. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, go ahead, Dr. Kumon.
I just wanted to sort of help you wrap it up in thinking about, this is a new law that has passed, and all districts are required to come up with a plan. The special education director, under the supervision of Dr. Lawson, have been working on developing this plan. They've been working with the SELPA and other special education professionals to really determine what it's going to look like for our students so that we can put this in place. Hence why it's here tonight for your approval. And then the Dr. Akinusi, our special education director, will be working on developing curriculum so that students can be set up for success. So this has been sort of an ongoing process statewide, and this is a culmination of a lot of work. So thank you for your work, bringing it to the board to help us understand it, but it is still kind of fresh in everybody's mind of what it's going to look like.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Lawson,
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you.
All right, board, we can move on now to agenda item number 10, which is the construction and modernization project update for November 2024. We're receiving this for information only. I did want to just make one small addition to this, though, that you may have seen there's a community meeting that's going to be taking place on November 20th at 6 p.m., I believe, at Westminster Gardens, and it is in relation to the Crestfield project. So if you have any interest in that, there's information that's going to be available at that meeting. So if you have questions, concerns, anything like that, please make sure you show up to that event on the 20th at Westminster Gardens at 6 p.m. Oh, and yes. Okay, yes, thank you very much, Dr. Hillman. There are flyers on the table over there, and then there's also some on the district's website. Thank you very much. All right, we will now move on to item number 11, which is reports from our student board members. So why don't we maybe start with you, Priscilla?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great evening so far. As we start to approach the holiday season, I'm excited to share with you what we have been doing and then this great stuff that we have planned. So to start off, during the week October 28th through November 1st, we had Red Ribbon Week, which gives students the opportunity to say no to drugs and become educated on why we do a Red Ribbon Week. On October 25th, in honor of the Dodgers making it to the World Series, we had a Dodger Day. So several students came to the school in shirts, hats, jerseys, and different Dodger gear to show off on our Dodger Day. On Halloween, students were encouraged to wear their Halloween costumes to school so they could participate in our Halloween costume contest. Both students and staff were able to participate. It was great to see all of the creativity our students have as well as staff. There was this really cool group staff costume, and it was really, really cool to see that. Our Falcon Pride store continues to stay open on most Tuesdays and Thursdays. The Pride store is a place for students to use points they earn on our 5-star app and cash them for various prizes. Students are able to earn points by participating in spirit weeks, school activities, attending sports events, or getting rewarded for good behavior. There are so many ways students are able to earn points, and not only does this encourage some friendly competition by wanting to earn the most points, but it gives students an opportunity to be rewarded for taking pride in their school. Last Wednesday, our CSF Club, or California Scholarship Federation Club, went on a field trip to the University of Laverne and USC. They took about 40 students, and I got an opportunity to go too. It was a great opportunity to get a tour of these two colleges. Last Friday, our band had their 11th consecutive field tournament. It was great to see all the people come out and watch our amazing band in color guard. We also had several volunteers, and some are sitting up here, thank you guys, that were helping out with this event. As many of you know, since it is November, it is college application season. I wanted to express our appreciation and gratitude to our USC college counselor, Ms. Lowe, as well as our other counselor, Ms. Araceli, and all of our counselors, Ms. Hulamar, Mr. Anderson, and Mr. Castillon, for supporting our seniors through this process. There is so much support with them, and their doors are always open to help all of our students. Not only have they been helping the seniors, but they're making sure our students are on course to complete their A through G requirements in order so they can apply when it's their turn. Last week, our staff played a game within each other. They called it Catch a Turkey. Teachers and staff members put turkeys on their door, and the goal was to collect as many turkeys as you can. It was very silly to see our staff members trying to grab turkeys off their doors. This encouraged community and some friendly competition between our staff. It was great to see our staff have so much fun. It was really fun watching people steal turkeys, quoted a staff member. I enjoyed meeting employees that I probably would never talk to on a regular basis. It brought us together, said another staff member. Staff morale is at an all-time high, which really sets a great tone on campus. Currently, ASB is hosting a Warm Threads drive. This is not only a clothing drive, but it is a competition between our students' fourth period class. The fourth period class with the most items for this clothing drive will receive a pizza party. The clothing that is collected will be donated, and this is a great opportunity for students to make a difference in somebody else's life. ASB is currently having a Seas Candy fundraiser. We are raising money so we could purchase gear, as well pay for our banquet and some other items. It is a great cause, and if you are interested in purchasing Seas Candy, please let me know. And then this Friday is Cultural Day at DHS. Our student ambassadors are each creating trifolds, with representing a different country, with facts about that country. These trifolds will be put on display in the quad, where students can learn about different cultures and countries around the world. As you all know, Thanksgiving break is coming up, and I know many students, including myself, who are ready to get that week off. The week we come back from break, we will have our Spirit Week for our fall rally. Our fall rally will be on December 6th. This will be an opportunity for our fall athletes, honor roll students, and AP passers from last semester to all get recognized. Following the week of the rally, ASB will have a Winter Spirit Week, where we will highlight the importance of the winter season, as well as celebrating all the different winter holidays during this holiday season. Now, I would like to tell all of you, as well as our community members, about this special place we have at the high school. At DHS, we have the Falcon Family Center. This is a place that is open for all of our students, as well as Duarte community members. This center holds various types of clothing, such as shirts, sweaters, jeans, and much, much more, as well as canned food, hygiene products, and school supplies. And the best part about this center is that all of the items in there are free. It is a place to help our students and community members. It's a great place, and it makes sure that everyone is taken care of. There are several different donors in our community who donate items to this center. This Thanksgiving, the Falcon Family Center will be allowing 65 families to receive a turkey, non-perishable box of fresh produce, and this is with collaboration with the Foothill Unity Center. It is a great thing that is being put on, and I wanted to express to everyone that everyone is welcome to the Falcon Family Center. Now, I would like to announce that the Duarte High School Theater Department presents Beware the House on the Haunted Hill. I would like to invite all of you to this show. There will be 3 showings. One, it's tomorrow on November 15th at 7 p.m. And then this will also be on November 16th, this Saturday, at 2 p.m. and at 7 p.m. This show will be in at what we call our hidden gem, the Black Box Theater. It will be an amazing production. I hope you all get a chance to see it. As I mentioned earlier, band had their field tournament last week, and it was great to see some of you there. Band and Color Guard had their senior night on October 24th, and we loved being able to celebrate them. Cheer also had their senior night on October 24th, and we love supporting our cheerleaders as they always do an amazing job. Football had an amazing senior night on October 24th. It was great to see them walk the field, and I am happy to say that we are Miramonte League champions. This means we were league champions 2 years in a row, back to back. It was great to see how our football program has grown and developed the past couple years since returning from COVID. As you all know, last Thursday they had their first CIF game, which wasn't even close, with the score of 42-0. Now we have another home game tomorrow. It's our round 2 game of CIF. Hopefully we come out on top. I'm inviting you all to attend. It will be chilly out, so make sure to bundle up. The rest of the fall sports, girls volleyball, girls tennis, cross country, and flag football seasons have all just concluded a couple weeks ago. They did incredible, and all their programs are just getting better. Girls soccer and boys soccer have recently had tryouts, with girls soccer having about 60 girls try out, and boys soccer about 40 boys. It will be great to see both these programs grow as they begin their seasons. They will start to have preseason games right after Thanksgiving break. Boys basketball have been training for quite some time now, and it was great to see them prepared for their season. They just had a preseason game in our gym today. Girls basketball just started training a couple weeks ago, and we're excited to see them prepare for preseason right after break. Wrestling has also been training for quite some time now, and it's great to see them on the track as well as the weight room. Before I close, I would like to share a personal experience I had about a week ago. For those of you who don't know, I am a part of the girls soccer program. And on this particular day at practice, it was about a week ago, all 60 girls who tried out were on the softball fields, the lower fields right next to the turf, and we were in the grass area. And across from us, there was all the 40 boys soccer players practicing. And then on the actual diamond of the field, there was softball. They were actually getting some early training in. And then from the bottom field, I was able to see all of football on the turf, practicing. And then we could also see wrestling running around the track. I wanted to share this because I have been a part of the athletics program since I was a freshman, and I have never seen our fields full like this, especially that day. The campus felt so alive and just showcased how involved and dedicated our students are. I think it was amazing to see all those people playing DHS sports, and it was so amazing. I wish I could have taken a picture to show all of you how amazing our student body is. But this showcased who we are as a school. It was after school, and it was amazing to see all those fields filled with students just doing what they love. And no matter what season it is, I am so thankful that I always have great things to tell you about Duarte High School. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Priscilla. All right, honey, can you give us a report, please, for MIT?
Hello, good evening. I'm here to share some exciting events our school has participated in over the past month. Our students have been actively engaged in learning, celebrating, and connecting with each other and the community. On October 16th, several of our students had the unique opportunity to participate in Creating Creators Film Screamfest. This event allowed our students to step onto the black carpet where they interviewed many actors. It was an inspiring experience that encouraged their interests in film and storytelling, giving them valuable insights into the world of acting and production. Just a few days later, on October 22nd, 30 of our students went on an educational trip to the LA Zoo. This experience immersed them in the animal kingdom and allowed them to learn about different species, ecosystems, and conservation efforts. For many, it deepened their interest in biology and environmental science. We also celebrated Halloween Spirit Week from October 28th to November 1st, where each day had a fun theme. We had Disney Day, Twin Day, Pink Day, Costume Day, and Orange and Black Day. This week gave students the chance to showcase their creativity and school spirit, bringing everyone together for a week of fun and connection. On November 1st, we proudly held our first Day of the Dead altar in the school. Students learned about the rich history behind this culture celebration and placed pictures of their loved ones who have passed away on the altar. We were incredibly honored to have school board members visit and participate in this meaningful event, making this even more memorable. Thank you for your continued support and making these activities possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honey. Appreciate that. All right, we will now move on to Dr. Hillman for the superintendent's report.
Well, good evening, board. Good evening, the community. I'm not sure how I can follow those reports, but I do know for sure that there is a sense of pride, connection, and school spirit that just you can feel it, right? Between what we heard earlier from Mr. Morris from MIT and our student board reps, just feeling the connection. We work really hard to make sure that our students are prepared for college, career, and life. Education, you think of education, you think of classes, math and English and all that. But really, when you're in a place that you feel connected, where people believe in you, and you feel like you belong. That's what makes it all special. So thank you I know you did it from the heart, and it was very genuine, so I don't really have much to add to that, other than the fact that I'm super proud. I just wanted to also say that this week, we've had this following last couple of weeks, we've had a recent election, and we're soon going to have some changes in the composition of our board. And I wanted to extend my personal gratitude to everyone who committed to supporting our schools, for stepping up to run for a school board seat. This election also marks Duarte's full transition to trustee area elections. As I've said before, our school board candidates and our elected members are dedicated volunteers who give generously of their time and energy to advance our mission for all students. The current governing board composition will remain the same until our organizational meeting, when our recently elected board members will begin their terms on December 19th, 2024. Now, just as an announcement, prior to that meeting, we will be holding a special board meeting on Monday, December 2nd at 5:30 p.m. right here in the community center. The meeting agenda includes our first interim budget report and budget stabilization plan. Also at that meeting, we'll be honoring the service of our board members from the previous term. I don't have much else to add. You've already mentioned about the meeting coming up from the developer we'll be holding on November 20th at Westminster Gardens, where all community members are encouraged to review the proposed site plan for the Crestfield Townhomes in the park. But I'd also like to, lastly, I'm very excited about the Falcon football team advancing to CIF playoffs right here tomorrow night. Like Priscilla said, dress warmly because it is going to be chilly, but it's going to be exciting because we're going to be all jumping around. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. and hope to see you there.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dr. Hillman. All right, we'll now move on to item number 13 on the agenda, which is to request to address the board. I believe I saw a couple of yellow cards up here.
Yes, I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking for my pen.
You're looking for the pen. All right. Oh, one more.
Oh, okay.
Nice toss.
Okay, first I have Ms. Tonette Parker-Reyes, inviting you up to the podium. Good evening.
Good evening.
You have 3 minutes.
Thank you for letting me speak. I wanted to just comment on the physical health risk analysis report that over the period of time that we've had several of our community leaders, Tom Reyes and Preston, come up here and voice their concerns regarding the budget and their concerns regarding what has been taking place with the district and the board. This report that has come out has, in my opinion, proven a lot of their concerns to be legitimate concerns. I feel that their names have been tarnished because of the disbelief in what was being said, what they were saying to the board and the district regarding their opinion as to what has been taking place. And I feel that this report speaks a lot for what has been happening over the past few years. I'm disappointed in this report. I'm embarrassed by this report as to what I've read and seen that has not taken place and should have taken place. I understand that it appears that the board have not had some training so that they could have properly addressed some of the issues that are in the report. Hopefully in the future, this will be corrected. Personally, I feel that the board and the district owe the two of them an apology for how their name have been put out there in the community when they were basically acting in the best interest for our district, our students, and actually our city. But I just wanted to go on record and voice my opinion regarding this matter. I was looking forward to you, Dr. Hillman, making a comment on the report to us tonight, but we didn't get one, so maybe hopefully in the future you'll give us an update on what the board and the district plans to do with correcting some of these issues so that we as citizens of Duarte can be informed as to how the board and the district are going to move forward with bringing these issues and our district into a better light than what it is now. As I heard from the county, there is hope. We can do things. And I'm sorry. I didn't mean to rattle on too much.
No, that's okay. It's
but
three minutes. Thank you.
But thank you anyway.
Okay. Mr. Alton Preston. Good evening, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I would like to recognize Dr. Laura. Earlier, Tom was recognized and they did not recognize Board-elect Dr. Laura. Would you please stand up? Thank you. Also, I would like to thank Mr. Morris for all the work that he do for his school and his students. But I think this board and administration been looking in the wrong mirror. It shouldn't have gotten this bad where there's a lack of concern. You all have not been listening to the public. And the naysayers gets up here when we speak to defend you. But look what's happening. Those two gentlemen come up here, we almost in insolvency. It's because you're not trusting each other. You have to work together. You have to educate. All of you should educate yourselves. Just like we try to educate these students to do better, the business that you are running now, you need to educate yourself to make sure this business is run correctly. Yes, there's going to be some slips, but that correction can come later. But listen to each other and stop fighting each other and share information with each other and do the right thing. We all here for these kids in this community. We want to see them do better. Look at the report the young lady gave. I love that. So let's work together and get this district back on track and start trusting each other and get your education so you can come up here and tell the public what they want to hear and stop scapegoating things. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tom Reyes.
Good evening, Board. Back in 2018, 2019, maybe even earlier, I started, when I was on the board, I asked for a FCMAT audit. And even the teachers back then asked for a FCMAT audit. You can ask the president. And the board refused to do it, saying we can't do it. We don't have a reason to do it. And 5-6 years later, we did it. We used to have a budget advisory committee. I think we need to bring that back. We need the community involved with this budget. We need the teachers involved with this budget, okay? And the board needs to be involved with this budget. We should all be sitting down together and going over this budget together as a community, and people from the community as well. Shouldn't have got this bad, and it's bad. And you know, I don't know if you guys are taking this serious or not, but we're bad. It's bad. This is a tiny school district, small school district. There is no reason we should be in this position, none whatsoever. I don't know if we're still paying for the CS Arts kids, $1,000, $1,100, $1,300, whatever it is a year. We need to take that money back, put it back in the general fund. That needs to stop. And I don't know if we're continuing to maintain Northview, okay? Because here we are, because I see our maintenance guys over there. And the PAC Center that we rarely get to use anymore. And we should be renting it out to make money. We used to do that. CC Carroll used to help with that. We don't do that anymore because we've given it away. All these things need to stop, and you guys need to learn to say no. You stamp everything, okay, 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 okay. No, you can't do that. We don't have the money. And I've been saying and talking about deficit spending and telling teachers and people in the community that we've got to stop that. And right now is the best time. Let's start new. Let's move forward. That report is excellent. I don't know if any of you read it. It's an excellent report. It's an excellent tool for us to move forward. Thank you.
Ms. Patty Navarrete. Good evening. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. As you all know, I'm a parent here at Duarte Unified School District. I have some children in the high school and some in the elementary. Today, what I want to bring up to your attention, personally, my mother is currently disabled, and I've had struggles just taking her around in that situation. and it was brought to my attention, something that happened within our schools, an elementary school. I want to know, what does this district have in place for our students with physical disabilities? In this particular situation, a student was helping another student that needed special accommodations throughout the school. Instead of a staff member, we had an 8-year-old child help this child throughout the school. I thought this was very inappropriate. I should have brought this up last month, but I'm learning to use my voice, so that's why I'm here. This should have been an adult supervised at all times. A child should have not had this responsibility, as this may have caused injury to both. And I brought up my mother because I, as an adult, having to lug her around is a big responsibility. And I could only imagine a child having that responsibility, and I think it was very inappropriate. It was brought up to the school, which is Valley View. It was brought up to the district, and I didn't see any change. The reason I was so involved was because my child was the 8-year-old pushing around, okay? I need to know how the school is prepared as for ADA ready in case this were to happen in the future. I hope that this is taken seriously and that there will be action for future students that go through this type of situation. I hope you guys will have something in place for us or share to the community what you have, not just the particular student, not just that school, but to all schools and to all parents. Because I don't know if in the future my child will be the one in a wheelchair. I wouldn't want another child pushing them around. There should be sufficient staff, proctors, or volunteers available. The parents work, or I wasn't there. I was getting the information from my 8-year-old, which I thought also was inappropriate. I hope you guys take this seriously and find a solution and tell the public what we're gonna do about this for the future in the next meeting. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you. We'll have staff follow up. And finally, Ms. Heather Messner. Sorry, that wasn't you.
I'm done. Good evening, board. Hi, Dr. Hillman. This is your first meeting that I'm at. I haven't been here in a while to address you guys. I've taken a hiatus from speaking. My name is Heather Messner. I'm DUEA president, and I am proud teacher over at Royal Oaks and Beardsley, and I'm here tonight to show some support for my Mount Olive staff. I absolutely love the showcasing schools. We have to keep doing that. We need to keep marketing our schools because, the marketing our schools and our fabulous programs is how we're gonna keep attracting and retaining our students, right? So even though reading the FIGMAT report and looking over it in close detail, it was disheartening to read, but at the same time, it is an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity for us to start collaborating together, pull the walls down, start working as a collaborative workforce like we did years back. Our late Reverend Edwards and I used to meet monthly when he was the board president and I was president, and he had came to me with this idea of, we know the teachers and staff really want to have that truly collaborative effort, and what would that look like for you? And we had said, just looking at those items in the budget that pertain to our classrooms, and what are the efficient programs that we need? What are the types of personnel that we need at every single school staff? And as the experts in the room, really determining together as a full work group of what is the most efficient and what are the programs that we really truly need. And we do need to have an assessment of our facilities and the programs we have and how much money is going out in consultants. And I know from looking at the budget and comparing the budget to other district budgets is that Duarte is highly spending in consultants and others. It's always been very top heavy in those categories. And so when I hear what is the priority, and the budget is a reflection of the school district's priority, it is really looking at that and saying, we're going to put the students and staff first. We're going to put our consultants and others aside and really take a deep dive into that budget and just be fully transparent and saying, we know where the deficiencies were. We know that there were systems or lack of systems in place, checks and balances in place. So now what are we going to do to move forward as a healthy organization to fix it, to right-side that? And we have like amazing teachers and students that we need to just keep showcasing, marketing, and just putting out how great we are. It doesn't make you bad people that our VICMAT report came out and there was a lot of deficiencies in it. But we need to take that as a learning experience, get trained on those budgets, and just ask questions.
That concludes your
Use
time.
us, because we're important. And thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Messner.
All right, that concludes the request to address the board. So we'll now move on to the general functions portion of our meeting. So first item will be the approval of the minutes from the regular board meeting on October 17th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Board Member Carroll, second by Board Member Howard. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on to the approval of the consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar as written? Or are there any items that anyone wants to pull aside for separate voting, I should say? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as written?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Board Member Diaz, a second by Board Member Olguin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next item, second reading and approval of board policies. Do I have a motion to approve the board policies?
Second.
Motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Olguin. Any discussion, board? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Oh, aye, I don't think I said aye. Next item is a provisional internship permits. Board, do I have a motion to approve this item?
Motion to approve? Second.
Motion by Board Member Carroll, second by Board Member Diaz. Is there any discussion?
I mean, it's just, the permits are explained give a little bit more explanation on the permits, Ms. Hillman.
I'd be happy to, but I think I'm going to ask Mr. Crosby,
Mr. Crosby.
our Assistant Superintendent of Personnel, to do that.
Yes, we have two employees that are on an intern credential, meaning they have not completed their full credential. When this happens, we have to have a PIP, and that's what this is a provisional internship permit stating that. These two employees are in an impacted subject matter, special education, where we could not find any. Our first choice is always find a fully credentialed teacher to be in the class. There was no one through our interview process and application process to fulfill those jobs. So that's why we had to go to this. So they have support from their university, and they have extra support from LACO and support from us through this PIP process. And that's why, but it does have to come to the board when we hire teachers on an intern credential.
Is that a regular process from other districts too?
This is the exact same process we've done throughout every year.
Okay.
When we have someone that's on intern credential, and it, especially in special education, is done throughout because there's not enough candidates for those positions. It's in almost every single district.
Thank you.
And Mr. Crosby, how were we flying this position for a while? I mean, how long of a process do we wait for, I guess?
It depends on when we get notification of the opening. I know one of these openings happened right before school started, but the positions are flown till we actually have adequate candidates for the position as well.
Okay, excellent. And now, these individuals, they are in the process of becoming credentialed, and
They have to be in the process. What happens is that they just haven't completed their student teaching.
Okay.
So the student teaching is part of their class that they're having right now, where they have support from the university and actually support from us as well.
And is it anticipated that following this internship period, that they would
They have to
hopefully
have one,
remain in our district?
Yes,
Okay.
and they have to have 1 year. They only have 1 year to complete this. You cannot get this multiple times as well.
I see. Okay. All right, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments from the board? All right, so we can go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor of approving the provisional internship permits, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All righty. Item 16.1, which is the 24-25 single plans for student achievement for all of the Duarte Unified School District schools. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Board Member Carroll, second by Board Member Diaz. Is there any discussion?
I did notice something at the Duarte High School CTA and on the, let me see if I open it up really quickly. Where it talks about the CT, courses that Duarte High School is having, but then there was something also said about, I don't know if welding was put in there and some other, like 3D printing, computer science, and then welding was added in there, expanding CT fields. Is that like the future thing you're trying to expand on, or something? Or finding creative ways to.
Right, we have reviewed the school plans for student achievement, we call them the SIPSAs. They are approved by our school site councils, brought forward to our office, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say our office, to the services office for final review. I can't stop saying that. And I know Dr. Lawson is looking through the plan right now. I know she doesn't have every plan committed to memory, but reviews for the proper expenditures and how they can address the needs of students. Dr. Lawson, do you have anything to add about that specifically, or do we want to get back for more information?
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that.
Okay. I just happened to I see it. I was like, oh, okay. I'm always fascinated or interested in our schools having, like I said, as much college courses, but also some CTE to add in there, because we never know our students, will fall into more of the skill set sort of jobs and right after high school, so they can make better money than, while they're working, and maybe they'll figure out something else that they want to continue on, maybe their education after that fact. So, and having two kids that fall very different. Like I have one who is very much the 4-year college course, very, academic, and I have one that's going to college at Citrus, but very skill set into the whole, photography, media, sports photography. So I have very different kids. And those are the kids we have in our district. We have all types, and sometimes that's the area where one would fall into more. Thank you. That's all I needed.
Yeah, I would just add, I know that at the school sites, they do work with the teams there. They work with the teachers. They get input from school site council when they're developing the plans and looking at the goals and strategies that they want to put in place. And the single plans are very specific to the school sites to meet the specific needs for each of the sites. And I know that the high school team has come together to look at what will be best to continue the growth and development for the students there at the high school.
And I'm going to just add one thing. We have Mr. Morris here, who also, in addition to being our principal at MIT, oversees CTE programs across the board. And we have a priority with CTE of expanding opportunities, partnering with our community colleges, finding ways for students to develop those skills. We've talked about the barbering and the cosmetology available. That's a different program, and expanding our culinary and our film studies, and that those are important pieces that are a part of our plan and our our goals for our school district. It's in our LCAP as well. So just to reassure you that's a really good point. And you may see it in the school plans, reflected in the school plans, but in our LCAP as well.
I know there's just different programs for MIT and Duarte High School. So a child who is interested, saying, to be a cosmetologist or barbering, because I know they make excellent money. If they're good, they make such good money. I know that for a fact with some of my son's friends. If that's an interest on the child, because you're thinking a child at Duarte High School might find it more interesting to go to MIT for did you see that crossover?
Specifically to cosmetology, that is through our adult education, and that's actually at the night in the evening.
Okay.
But all students are eligible to take it. I think he has, what did you say, Mr. Morris, like 24 students, something like that, in the cosmetology program right now. Something in that vicinity, but across both schools. So that particular program is available to all students because it is it's outside of the school day. It's in addition to. So lots of ways that we can expand opportunities for our kids.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the board? All right, then we'll go ahead and take a vote on this. So all those in favor of approving the SIPSAs, as they're called, for 24-25 for all the schools in Duarte Unified, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, 16.2, this is course of study and graduation requirements for the alternate diploma, which Dr. Lawson spoke about previously. So can I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve. Second?
Motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Carroll. Any discussion, board? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to business and finance. So this is item 17.1, resolution 06-24-25, which is a resolution of the Board of Education for Duarte Unified School District in Los Angeles County, California, authorizing the issuance of the Duarte Unified School District, Los Angeles County, California, election of 2010 General Obligation Bonds Series F and actions related thereto. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved. Second?
So motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Carroll. Any discussion, board, about this item?
President Finley?
Yes.
If I may, I would like to acknowledge Mr. Jin Kim from Piper Sandler, who has very patiently been attended our meeting this evening on board here to answer any questions in addition to Ms. Bell for this item.
All right, thank you. Any questions, board?
I have a question.
All right. See, your trip here was not in vain. You have a question.
Hi. Question. Can you explain to the community again what a bond is and how we can use this money? I think sometimes we forget that it's restricted money. And can you tell us how we can use it and what we have left in the measure?
Sure.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Good evening, President Finley, members of the board, Dr. Hillman, and staff. So a general obligation bond is a financing tool. So it's a financing tool that's widely used by hundreds of school districts up and down the state. And one of the reasons, the primary reason why they use it is because it alleviates the burden on your general fund to build new facilities to enhance your educational programs. Because if you were to compare ourselves to a corporation, the product that we offer is educational services. And students are our customers. So in order to stay competitive, school districts use GO bonds to maintain that competitive edge in fight for students and to keep the enrollment numbers up. In terms of the bond funds, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's very restricted. You can't use that money to pay for teacher salaries. You can't use that money to pay for retirement benefits. You can't use that money to pay for operational expenses, such as keeping your lights on or paying other utility costs. All the monies must be spent on projects that were specifically voted on by the communities when they voted to authorize the school district to issue the bonds. So hopefully that provides a little bit of color.
It does. And do you know what the balance would be?
So this is the final amount under Measure E. This is the older of the two bond measures you have. So this is from 2010 election, and this is the remaining bond balance of about $8 million.
So after this draw, it'll be 0.
It'll be 0 after this under Measure E. Correct.
But, and with it, with this additional draw, this is, the bond drops to 0, but the repayment of this bond then goes on for decades, yes?
That's right. So typically, whenever a bond is issued, it's issued with a 30-year repayment period, very similar to a mortgage. For this particular bond issue, our target is to repay the bonds off within 25 years, at which time it will fall off the tax rolls.
And the objective in paying it off earlier is there's less interest that is paid overall?
That's absolutely right. So if you remember, the state of California a number of years ago set what's called a repayment ratio. And this repayment ratio is calculated by taking the bond amount, the draw amount, plus the total interest, and you divide that by the bond amount. And when we compute that calculation, the state of California said, you must stay under 4-to-1. And when you have the repayment ratio below that, that's not only a demonstration of a successful bond issuance, but it's also a demonstration of good governance. And when we calculate what we project to be the repayment ratio in this final bond issuance, we come in at about 2-to-1 or so, which is well below the state standard.
Great, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments from the board here?
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night, Mr. Kim. Thank you.
All right, so we can go ahead now and vote on this resolution, which I will not read again. But all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on to 17.2, which is Resolution 07-24-25, which is the resolution of the Board of Education of Duarte Unified School District to establish the BRIC Scholarship Fund and Committee. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Board Member Carroll, second by Board Member Olguin. Any discussion? I do want to ask about this. So obviously this is this is for purchasing bricks that are going to be going into the new gymnasium. And these bricks, are they still for sale? Are they all sold out? What, do we have a current status on these?
The current status is 37 bricks remaining. I'm looking at Ms. Bell, she's nodding. That the deadline for purchasing them is November 30th, 2024. So that's coming right around the corner. So anyway, make sure that I know a lot of us, myself included, keep thinking, oh, I have to do that. So don't forget.
Where do you find the information at?
The information is on the
It's on the website?
yeah.
Okay.
There's a
So-
QR code in a couple different places.
So anyone out there, look into the website, if that's what, I'm just, that's what I was asking for.
And I hear it makes an excellent stocking stuffer, right?
Excellent stuff. But for the last minute people to do it, we're counting down to 30. No pressure.
That's right. And these just for those who may not know about it, when you go to purchase one of these bricks, the proceeds go towards a scholarship fund, as you might have guessed, for the students that are graduating from Duarte High School, and you actually get to. It's not just any old brick. It is a brick that is going to be placed in the gymnasium. I think is it out front? Okay, out front. Okay, and you get to write a message on it. So you can put like a little falcon on there, or if you played a certain sport at Duarte High School, you can put that a logo on there and then write a message. So it's actually kind of something kind of cool that you'll be able to visit, in the years going forward. So if you haven't bought one yet, I definitely encourage you to get one, because it'll be a fun thing to visit in the future, and the proceeds go to a very, very good cause. So, All right, that's enough brick salesmanship from me. Any
I'll try
other
selling.
comments from the board? Alrighty, so we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and vote on this. All those in favor of approving this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Alrighty, 17.3, we have agreement number 04 with Nino and More to provide geotechnical materials testing and special inspections for the Duarte High School new sports complex project. Do I have a motion
So
to
moved.
approve?
Second.
Motion by Board Member Diaz, second by Board Member Olguin. Any discussion, Board?
Well, I guess the discussion is, there's another fee for it, or it went up because of too many visits, or what was the, not visits, but what was the reason for the actual increase?
So my understanding is this is for geotesting that's required because of, it's just part of the construction project. We've had more and more rain over the rains and the changes of the soil over the time, and there's a lot of concrete out there. We want to make sure that building stands for a very long time. So it's part of the construction project. Costs increase. I think one of our experts was talking today about the cost. Every cost is going up, but I think that pretty much. Yeah, the
Continue
soil.
testing of soil, okay.
All right, any other questions, Board? Okay, so all those in favor of the approval of the agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Alrighty, item 17.4, this is the fiscal health risk analysis report that was prepared by FICMAT. And we are receiving that from information, and that is available on the website should anyone want to see that. So we are just receiving that item for information here. So that pushes us now on to item number 18, which is our non-agendized items. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe start out with our student board reps. So Priscilla, can you go ahead and start us off?
I did have something to say.
Great.
I wanted to say today's meeting was very informational, and it was very nice to hear so much stuff. I get to learn more, and I did want to say thank you to all of you working very hard. I know you were all working very hard to make improvements and make things better for the future, and I think that you guys will do great, and I'm excited to hear in the future what happens. So thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Honey, any items that you wanted to address at the end here?
Not really, but add something that Priscilla said was this meeting was very informational, and it was a lot to take in. But that's about it, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you very much. Why don't we move on to Board Member Howard then?
All right. Well, what can I say? I want to, first of all, just express just how thankful I am to have been able to serve on this board, to be able to serve this community for the last 5 months, I think it's been. Many of you may know I was appointed as a provisional appointment, but it has been a pleasure just really working with this district. And I just want to say congratulations to Dr. Laura Hasso and Mr. Reyes, who will be the incoming board members. I have the greatest confidence that they are going to do a phenomenal job in ensuring that this district continues to move forward. But thank you so much for the opportunity to serve.
Thank you very much, Mr. Howard. All right, Ms. Holguin.
Well, good evening, everybody. Just want to thank everybody. It's been a long night. I'm going to try to make it really quick. I want to thank, God, I just went blank. Mr. Howard. I'm just like, what's his name? Eddie. I'm just like, oh, I don't want to say goodbye. But anyways, Eddie, for stepping up. I know it's not easy, and thank you, and I appreciate it. And Cece, thank you for your long-term dedication to our community and our school district. And want to remind everybody, please come out to the game tomorrow. And I've been out walking on the track, and the kids, they're so excited. They've been out there practicing, so hope to see everybody there. Have a great holiday, and thank you. Good evening.
All right, thank you. Ms. Diaz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I echo Mrs. Holguin's words, but I really like to welcome the 2 new board members that we will be installing on the December meeting. Knowing Dr. Laura Hasso has been a blessing for these past months. I know your passion, I know you are professional, and I know you really will do well here. And so being a board member is something that you really have to have a passion for it. You know you're not perfect. You know we are not perfect. We make mistakes like anyone make mistakes. But we are also prepared to repair whatever we can. And it's not to go against our wills. It's going, everything we do it for love to education. And I have seen hundreds and hundreds of kids during my 27 years of service graduating from the high school, and they are successful professionals. We have lawyers, we have doctors, we have nurses, we have mechanics, we have every different diversity of professions. And I just like to say thank you for all the work that you have done during the campaign. And I just hope that we always focus on the main reason that we are here, our students. And I think that's it for me tonight.
All right, thank you very much. And Vice President Carroll.
This is not my last meeting, so I'll wait for my goodbyes on the next meeting we have. But I was going to say and echo kind of what Heather was saying earlier about for the board members that are going to be on here this next coming year to really think of priorities first. Like we were talking earlier when they were talking about the FitMat report and stuff like that, and just really focus on what is, at this point, because we don't have the cash flow, what is the priorities to our students and staff. And we've had conversations, Heather and I too, about things that are really needed in our district, and whether to figure out how to get these kids, the ones that are falling through the cracks a little bit, who are not up to the reading levels or math levels, of teachers' interventions. We're talking about bilingual teachers. Look into areas where we can support those kids, especially. I know in my imaginary, this is my dreamland. My husband thinks I'm a dreamer all the time about how I think things come so easy. If we had all the money we can do, then you can think of all the amazing programs. But at this point, the importance right now is to make sure we're sovereign and we can continue still giving our staff, our kids and our staff, our students, what we can. Really putting those efforts first, and talk to the teachers, because they do know what they experience in the classrooms, most of all, and what they experience and the help they need. And it's hard, it's difficult, to in a given day to work in a classroom and try to support all those kids in different needs that they have at different levels. So I think that's what I would come forth and to say for the next boards who are going to be up here, to start focusing priorities at this point. And but otherwise, I'm still very optimistic, and I like to think half full instead of half empty. So, and look at things where we're going to figure it out, they're going to figure it out, and I think everything's going to be fine. I think we have a good team, and collaborating was a big word too right now we're using. within the board and the staff and the admin and the teachers, like Heather said too about that. So working to figure out how to work with each other and figure out what can be happen, how what can happen. But I was going to say, otherwise, on the lighter side, I mean, it has been a super busy month, and just some of the fun things. Priscilla talked about the tournament and the band tournament, which was fantastic. I didn't get to see I saw from a side angle because I was in the ticket booth most of the night helping out with that. But it's always fun to hand out the trophies at the end of the night. But I love, the arts are kind of where I started. Everything started and stemmed. It's funny how I became a board member, but a lot of it started from just being the mom in the classroom to, oh, look, I was doing shows at the time, so I was performing, and I was taking my dance classes still 20 years later, and I'm like, oh, I could put on a little show on stage. I can do a better job than what some people were doing there. And I added to it with the talent shows, and that's how even Lois Gaston noticed me, because we had a district talent show every year at that point, and they needed reps from every school. So every school had like a rep to bring in their kids that tried out at the school level. The 3 kids, or 6, I think it was 6 at the time, would audition for the big show, and maybe say 3 of them made it, and then from that point all the schools competed with each other. So that's where I met Heather too. It's funny, that's how we started. And so from that point, I remember I had a parent that was upset because her daughter wanted to go on to the district talent show, and at the time I was like, I can find a number for you. We're going to put 6 girls together and do an Annie number. Let's do Never Fully Dressed Out Smile. I choreographed it. I brought the music in. I came in when Terry Lujan was staging it. And it was funny. She said, well, we can't put you on stage yet because we don't have our micers. I go, I can mic. I've done this. This is the stuff I used to do. You can? Okay. Just mic the kids. Okay. So then they were on stage. She's like, wow, good choreography. Thank you. So I helped these kids. So that's how I started. It really honestly started because I was in the arts. And then from that point on, I was in the classrooms, like for winter programs, spring programs. I said, no, I can help you out. Any teacher my kids were in, I'd be like, I'll take on the task and find an entertaining number. Yeah, I did. My own numbers were like a musical on stage. So I did the ones that didn't want to sing in the background, the front, the best dancers in the front, and the best performers. And kids that didn't really want to do it, I just had them on the sides holding packages, moving it around like choreography. So that's how I really started. And then from there, I was noticed by Dr. Mercerino, who handpicked me to be the California School of the Arts board member. And that was because I was on arts. I was into the arts. And that's how it started. That's how I evolved into later running for the board, because I was very involved with PTA and everything else that went on in schools. But that's just a little short story about myself. But that's really how it began. And so coming back again to the band, music, anything with dance, anything, it's always been my forte. So it's always been what I loved. But otherwise, I was also happy to go to MIT and get to see the altar. I was going to say there was some great hot chocolate there too, if you didn't get any, and really impressed. And Beardsley also had Dia de los Muertos also going on too, and on top of that, the city. So it's been a very busy month of celebrating the cultural Day of the Dead, and another fantastic thing that we got to experience, it was a Paraton, is that just last month? Okay, yeah, the murals. Didn't know NASA was in our backyard. That's how, Monrovia. I had no idea that they work on the satellites. And that was an amazing project, again, through, I'm going to say, I forget his name again, Dionysus.
Dionysus
Yeah,
created.
correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, amazing of how our kids were a part of that. And if you drive down Shamrock, no, it's not Shamrock, Mount Shamrock, to your right, you'll see the murals, and that's some of our kids that did that. So very impressed with our things that go on here in our district with the high school and with MIT and all our schools. It's amazing. So that's all I have to add. Yes. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And I will go ahead and say a little something, and then we'll pass it over to Dr. Hillman. We've had some difficult messages tonight, and I think that it has been said that in order to be successful, you have to learn to keep the main thing. And I think that will sort of be our guiding light as we move forward to keep our district in solvency and to make sure that we are good even in the out years. I think that's going to be really important to making sure that we are able to not have every single year kind of going, ooh, I hope things work out. But there has been a lot of messages of hope this evening, a lot of positive things to be excited about. Going to the CIF football game last week, I think I got there after the first quarter, and as I was driving over there, I thought, well, I hope we're at least keeping it close. And I got in there, and we were very much keeping it close. It was very exciting to see how dominating we were on the field, and so hopefully that will repeat itself tomorrow night. And I look forward to being bundled up out there with many of you to watch our Falcons play their best. And I think that's about it for me. So, Dr. Hillman.
Let me just conclude with saying, as we head into the Thanksgiving, I just wanted to take a moment to express my gratitude for each of you and to my team here for all the dedication that you bring to our work. Your commitment to our students, our staff, our families, and each other is truly appreciated, and it's really what makes our community strong. I hope everybody out there has a chance to rest and recharge and enjoy time with family and friends. May your holiday be filled with warmth, gratitude, and joy. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Hillman and board. So we will go ahead and move on to the adjournment, and we are going to be adjourning this meeting in memory of Victoria Jones, who recently passed away, who is actually the niece of our board member, Eddie Howard. And in addition to that, she was actually an MIT grad from Duarte here, and is also the parent of a DUSD student. So we want to remember her and honor her and all the good that she did for the community and for the youth. And so we will adjourn in her memory, Victoria Jones. So is there a motion for this adjournment?
Motion to approve. To adjourn the meeting in memory of Mr. Edwards' niece.
All right. I have a second.
Rosalie. Miss Holding.
Okay. Well, okay. So we'll let Eddie go ahead and second that. So we have a motion by Board Member Diaz, a second by Board Member Howard. Any discussion? All right. Then we'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.